Hey, good morning. Yes, it is. It is Tuesday, October 15th. So, what are we going to be talking about today? What I thought we'd talk about today, and this is where I really need you guys to not shine because you shine all the time, anyways. Sucking up, you hear me? On generator safety, because I think it's more prevalent now than, and it, it's got to be heard more now than ever before because we have so many of you that maybe you're watching that were affected by the hurricanes and the flooding and stuff, and you're running on generators just trying to make it through the day. So, what I'm asking of my crew is generator safety, the do's and don'ts, and my take on it. And hopefully, I get you, the other mechanics, and service reps that know generators, portable generators, of the correct way. So stay tuned. Alrighty, welcome back. My name is Eric, and yes, today is Tuesday, October 15th. This is the weekday, Monday through Friday, available on podcast as well for your listening pleasure. So, what are we talking about today? Today, we're talking about generator safety and then generators in general, the different kinds and how to hook them up and, the scary things, right? So we'll start off with first identifying what is a generator. A generator is anything that provides power, right? And it can be run by gas engine, diesel engine, propane engine. And there are different levels, girls. And there are different levels of generators, right? You have the homeowner series, you have the commercial series, you have the standby series, and different sizes, starting out like at 900 watt, and the sky's the limit, right? So, with all of this stuff, information out there, how do you decide on what you really need, and how to service it, and when to service it, and how long should it run? And I know a lot of you guys are going to Google that are out there. Google's fine, but Google can give you misinformation too. And that is when you talk about a portable generator, that's one that usually has wheels or one you can wheel around and or carry around or what have you. That the manufacturer will say somewhere between 1,000 and 1,500 hours of runtime. All right. My experience has been closer to 500 to 600 hours. And they aren't made for long, continuous runs. If you look at Google, they'll say 6 to 16 hours. Well, we had one during the ice storm. This was quite a number of years back. An old home light. And it had the plastic tank on top and stuff like that. But we ran it for 28 days. And it lasted a while after that. But we didn't run it at night. We didn't run it midday. We started in the morning to get everything back up so that the freezers were froze and this and that, and to have breakfast or whatever. But during the middle of the day, we left it off because we had a wood stove as well. That you didn't need a fan on it. It was centered in the house. So we were lucky to have that. If we would have had to have a furnace that needed power all the time, it might have been a different story. So the average runtime on most portable generators is, let's give it a little bit of swing, right? Between 500 and 800 hours. I know what the manufacturer says, but they're also saying you're not going to be using it for continuous run. you're going to use it for a couple hours and then put it away, right? Or maybe up to a couple of days on and off until the power gets back on. Not a month, 2 months, and definitely not off grid. And that's what a lot of you are experiencing right now, that are being told that you probably aren't going to get your power turned back on for months, and somewhere out there almost a year. So a portable generator is not what you want. It can get you by, but it's not what you want. What is the best long-term generator to have? And depends on your situation. If you're talking something that you can move around, I would say a diesel generator. It may be mounted on a trailer or something like that, because they're bigger. And those, you can get 20,000, 30,000 hours out of them. If you go with a standby is one that is mounted somewhere on a concrete pad, hopefully. And it senses when the power is not on, and it starts up by itself. Those and the commercial generators, commercial portables, will last sometimes 8,000 to 10,000 hours. And when we say 8,000 to 10,000 hours, that's runtime. That's not, if it runs for 3 hours this year, it's only used 3 hours. So some of these can last a personal lifetime, depending upon how many times your power is out and the duration that your power is out. So how do we choose the right generator? Well, my best advice to you is to find someone that is doing installs on generators. Standby generators, they're probably selling some portable generators as well. But the one that's actually doing the install, and you're going to find that they're electricians. They better be electricians or have electrical skills. And talk to them. They can come to your home and look at everything you have that's going to come online that you need to run, or you want to be able to run when the power's out, and tell you what you need. And my rule of thumb has always been figure out what you need and go a bit bigger, right? The generators that you're going to buy mostly at Home Depot, Lowe's, Tractor Supply, they are not the commercial grades. Some of them can be, on occasion, but most of them are not. They're just the portable homeowner series, and they can get you by in a pinch, but if you're looking at long term, probably not going to work for you if you have long periods of time where the power's out. Now, I talked about servicing and tips on generators about every 3 days out, changing the oil on it. And I'm still that way. Are you guys that are out there that, because maybe getting oil is hard. I mean, I know gas is in a short supply, and trying to get into town to get anything is crazy, right? So you're kind of stuck. You do what you got to do. If you have the ability, change the oil every three days. I see one of you mentioned in the comments that is every 1,000 hours. I think what you're looking at is the commercial grade and the continuous run. On your portables that are just the homeowners, you might be lucky to get 1,000 hours out of it total, more like 500 to 800 hours before the puppy is whipped and time to go get a new one, right? See, we ran into that a lot up here. We had people that were wanting to live off grid, and they had solar panels, right? Well, when the sun's not out, those solar panels are not charging the mega batteries. What is? It's usually a portable generator. And the choice of many up in this area were the champions. Now, we're a champion sales, service and sales, as well as warranty. And we saw one after another coming through that looked like brand new but had no compression. And we would ask them, are you off grid? Because if you're off grid, I know the exact problem you have. You have worn this thing out. And instead of paying $500-$600 3 or 4 times a year, why not just step up to the commercial grade? In the end, it's going to cost you less money. All right, so that brings us to what's the best way to hook up a generator to provide power, and that all depends on what you're using it for, right? If your power goes out and you're trying to feed the house and the things that are in the house, what you need to do prior to needing that generator is have someone that is qualified come out and put in a disconnect and transfer switch. And what that does is it shuts off any backfeed to the line, to the grid, and it switches it so that the power coming off your generator can only feed what's in your house or what's attached to your house. That's the safest way. Now, things that I've seen over the course of the years is if you have an outside pole with a main disconnect that goes back up to the power lines, put that in the off position before you do anything. That will keep any backfeeding. Plus your generator, once it starts and you hook it up, it's going to try to feed that whole line and it will kill your generator. And the opposite is if power comes on, it will kill your generator, blow it up. But the biggest reason is for not backfeeding is you have people that are out there working day and night right now trying to get the power back on for you. And they may have a hold of that line and they're whipping it around, not realizing that there's any juice on it because they have the main substation shut down. And you hit them with your generator voltage and wattage, you kill somebody, all right? But this goes back to, if you don't know what you're doing, find someone that can help, that knows what they're doing. All right, so the different things that I've seen over the years is throw the breaker, on the pole. If you have a pole where it's where the meter is. The other is taking and you've got to have somehow to shut the power off from going back onto the grid, all right? But I've seen people put welder receptacles on the wall with their own breaker, and then you throw the main breaker so that it can't backfeed to the line, and then start your generator up, let it warm up, and then turn that breaker on, and it'll bring power to your house because you take your generator plug and plug it into the welding receptacle or the 220 receptacle that you have. Could be a dryer receptacle. You can get different ends. Now, the things that I've seen that make me a little on the leery side is I've seen people where they would take the generator and have it and plug an extension cord and cut it the other end of the extension cord, put another male on it, and then plug it into an outlet in their house, and that's called backfeeding. And that extension cord will not hold up. And you have a high chance of an electrical fire happening in that house because of doing it that way. If you have it so that it's hooked up to individual things with extension cords, again, you gotta know what extension cords that you need. and what they can carry for wattage, so that they're not overheating and melting and frying something on the inside. Because low voltage can ruin a lot of your stuff that are inside your home. So I've seen backfeeding. I've seen where they take 12-2 wire and hook it into the main breaker box and try to run it that way. Again, I mean, I understand it. If you're in those affected areas, you don't have much choice, because good chances are you probably either you didn't have a generator before, or you didn't use it that often, so you didn't think you needed it. But now you need it for a duration, right? But this is where you guys that are on the channel can help out the viewers on what are the do's and don'ts when it comes to your generator safety in general. My best advice is to have someone that installs them on a regular basis come help do the correct electrical setup and explain to you, so that you totally understand what they're talking about when it comes to a disconnect, and how to use your generator. Make sure it's in a well ventilated area so you don't have carbon monoxide, where that can kill. All right, and you don't want to fuel the generator up when she's running or when she's hot, because now you got a chance of a fire, right? Somebody had mentioned, grounding the generator, okay? Now, if you have it hooked up correctly, and I'm talking, a bigger unit, 6,000 watts and above that you have, and you have it hooked into your system where you have the disconnect and all that, when you hook to that and you hook to the house, you're also hooking to the grounding rods that are in the ground that are part of your electrical part of your house, right? So the grounding rod is there. If you're hooked to extension cords, most generators have a neutral, a 3-prong, and it's not necessary. So, I mean, I can't think of a situation where you need a grounding rod outside of those two situations. But maybe you guys do, and you bring it to light. So let's leave it there. I'm going to wrap it up. I know it's not a long video today, but I've been concentrating on trying to keep people safe and still have power. What would be your recommendations? What have you seen that made your hair stand on end? And some of the do's and don'ts. And what your experience has been with having a generator yourself. Did you have somebody come and set it up for you, or are you put your own in? Let's see where this goes. So on that note, you guys have a great Tuesday, and we'll catch you here bright and early tomorrow morning. Again, thanks so much for watching. And this here is to try to help others that may not know a lot about generators that are searching for it. And hopefully they find this channel and they heed some of our warnings and do it the right way and do it the safe way. All right. Catch you guys tomorrow morning.